Over the past few years, California has been going a bit crazy. But illegal immigration is racking up, countless criminals not being prosecuted. But now, California has reached a new level of, insanity. So, as the inflation, according to the correct standards in the United States, reaches around 10%, the rising cost of food, fuel, and dementia pills is continuously rising. California government has passed a law that helps combat, climate change. So, the title of this article today is, this article is from Daily Mail, and the title says, Decomposing Human Remains Can Legally Be Used as Compost from 2027 thanks to new California law aimed at tackling climate change. With that being the weirdest introduction to any of the videos that I have ever done, welcome to my American nightmare. I am your tour guide, Electro. Just imagine eating tomatoes from the plants which grows on the remains of your own dead grandfather. I mean, that's an absolute nutty scenario. And in about 5 to 10 years, that actually will become reality. Well, I cannot even eat the tomatoes that I'm growing in my garden right now because they look like this. So, explaining this, you take a dead body, decompose it, and then use it to fertilize the soil. I would like to revel in silence, to understand what grave and insane this particular law suggests. Like, what type of insanity will be running in the minds of the person who actually passed the law? And when you further read the article, it will say that it was passed by none other than Mr. Gavin Newsom. Getting deeper into this article, the title itself, just imagine asking the guy from whom you take your weekly supplies of vegetable. Asking that guy, you were asking that guy, is this vegetable grown in human remains? And I don't think that that guy is going to answer you honestly. I've seen some reports where it is being said that a global recession is coming. One of the top executives at FedEx said something like this. Something like this would be happening. I have this article from CNBC which says that FedEx CEO says he expects the economy to enter a worldwide recession. And this was published in, guess what? Thursday, September 15, 2022. So it was not a very old article, it's fairly recent one. I don't understand why. So let's get into this whole thing, shall we? So let's dive into it and understand what's really going on. So, according to this whole thing, this Daily Mail article, it will become so bad as we'll have to use manure. Well, we'll have to use human remains as manure because we aren't able to use fertilizers because of the whole Russia-Ukraine war and stuff. So maybe it will get really, really bad. I'm not entirely sure, but just to be safe, I'm learning how to grow my own food. I've started with the whole tomatoes thing I showed you earlier. I might even, I might be wrong. I hope I'm wrong because I don't want to go through a recession. I heard the 2008 one was a very formidable one to well, go through and experience. At the very least, I hope there is no food shortage, and if there isn't, I would be worried about the food that I will be eating. I don't want it to be grown in human decompose. And even if all this does happen, I don't think the seller will admit to growing the things you are buying from him to be grown in human remains. That is disgusting. So, continuing further down this article, California will begin offering the option of human composition, human composting after death, thanks to a bill recently signed into law that aims to tackle climate change. Human composting, also known as natural organic compound, stuff about that. Cremation in US alone emits about 360,000 metric tons of carbon dioxide per year, according to the National Geographic. The bill bans the combining of various people's remains unless they are related, but it does not make it illegal to sell the soil that results from the process or use it to grow food for human consumption. Okay, personally, I would like to be cremated by the process of how my ancestors were created because I'm a traditionalist, ain't I? So, in the Hindu tradition, the guys it's called chitta. I don't know if the dead body is laid out on a pile of wood and it is given fire by the eldest son in the family. And well, God knows that I'm not having a family unless these shitty Indian courts do anything to treat me as an equal to the woman rather than treating me as only a checkbook. The hashtag which possibly every aware male in India is following is marriage right. But hey, that is a topic for another day. So, continue. We can Continuing reading this article, with the climate change and sea levels rise as very real threats to our environment, this is an alternative method of final disposition that won't contribute emissions into our atmosphere. I look forward to contributing legacy with cremation instead of setting. Truman said the Catholic Church is in the process of against this process. Sort of. So, when you read down this article, there is a particular line: grow food for human consumption, and well, there should be a parenthesis and well, fine print that should say human compost, a grown in human compost. All right. That will allow the food to be grown for animal consumption. So they will allow the food to be grown for animal consumption, and then they will switch for the animal. They will ask you to eat the animal. So that is how the cycle will prevail. That's what I think. Now I can get that when a person dies. See, I can get when a person dies, and well, the body decomposes in the wild, and then plants grow over it, and then well, deer eats those plants, and then you eat the deer, supposedly. At a certain point the cycle continues, right? That I can get. I just don't like the idea that they grow the vegetables directly from the remains of humans. It is a bit too insane for my taste, and yeah, it is a bit too insane for my taste. So now that is a speech. The next article is about uh, from Yahoo Finance, where the title of this article being the world food shortage going from bad to worse, UN official says. The date of this article is August 23, 2022. So this is also a fairly recent one. I heard this theory of how this whole situation will be culturally acceptable. They are going to say that we need fertile soil. What we do, and there what do we do? And there is a food shortage anyways, and there is a fertilizer shortage already existing. So the solution might come to, well, you can starve to death, or you can use the human soil, well, human compost in the soil, and you're going to be like, well, I am hungry, so I will eat whatever you give me, and well, that is a very weird situation to have. Like, imagine the first example that I gave. Imagine eating the tomatoes that are grown in your grandfather's soil, ashes, I guess. I don't even know what to call it. It's so very weird. Anyways, moving on, continuing with this article, we get it. Okay, so a food shortage is coming. Let me close that. A food shortage is coming, and it's going to be catastrophic for the people in India. Why? Because well, this map shows of how the world is going to be affected by the people by the food shortage. America, the Western society is somewhat safe, considering they are not even measured here. But after COVID-19, India has been severely impacted, and most of my family lives in India. That's why I'm a bit concerned about it. And but they are very ignorant about this. They say, "Oh, we will manage. We will do this and that." No, you won't be able to manage when the food shortage comes. When you cannot go to the supermarket and have stuff there in the aisles waiting for you, that is going to be too late for you to realize that you cannot have food. So my suggestions: start growing your own goddamn food. So I think since this whole food shortage thing is very hanging above our heads like a sword, I think it will come down to people shifting from traditional food to crickets and roaches. That's what happening. That's what the narrative is being pushed in America as well, and in here as well. I mean, New York or well, majorly democratically run states. But let's get into that. There's this chart. If we compare it, we can see that regions that can't produce enough foods for their population are unsustainable regions, and sooner or later, the food is going to be supplemented with crickets and roaches. As I said, uh, this is what I fear, because these people, the elites, are going to mix cricket and roach into your food by making a paste out of them, and then they will slowly but gradually increase the amount of paste of the roaches and crickets to the food, and then they will completely shift you to that, and then you'll just be indifferent. You'll just eat it because you have grown accustomed to it. You got used to it. You don't. If you're surprised about this, you can just go ahead and see this next story. Snack food made with cricket protein now being sold in Canadian supermarkets. I mean, how many times do you go into the store and buy something and actually see the ingredients that are being used for making that particular thing that you did buy, or that you did that you are going to eat? I don't think so. A lot of people do that. They just go and grab the things they want and then eat it and say it tastes fine to me. Okay, so whatever happens, man, I'm gonna say this. I ain't eating the bug infested articles of anything edible. Okay, like fuck it. I will starve, but I won't eat it regardless of however it tastes. I would prefer to have a bunch of chickens. The chickens eat the bugs, and then I eat the chickens. So, well, it ultimately boils down to preferences, right? So I will tell you, maybe not right now, maybe not for a while, but sooner or later, something like this will happen, and when it does, will not be able to go to the Walmart near your area or the DMart and ask, why can't you see why can't you see vegetables? Why are you seeing roaches? Or maybe that would happen that when you go to the market and see relatively relatively cheaper amount of the cheaper cost of vegetables, you will buy that, and behind in fine print there would be a warning written that this particular article that you're buying was grown in human compost. Well, that is a nightmare dystopia that I don't wish that I ever live to see. But well, we'll see. I will leave it there. Next segment is coming up in around 12 hours of this video. Thanks for hanging out, and I will see you all next time.